Okay, we're back. Episode 6 of the Spidcast. The return of the Spid. None other than Dr. Spid, aka Steven Shepard, aka Steve Schaefer, aka the Berliner, maybe?
Ich bin ein Berliner. Ja,
Joining us
genau.
again from across the Atlantic in Deutschland. Steven, how is it going in the land of World Cup disappointment?
It's too soon, man. Uh, well, as they'd say here in Germany, es geht mir gut. I'm doing well. I do have to issue a correction on our last episode where we constantly refer to GRP as the Green River Project. It is actually the Green Racing Project. And I will
That was
be,
fixed in post.
well, now everyone knows. I just doxed ourselves. Well, only onwards and upwards from here.
Hey, speaking of the Green River slash Green Racing project, we are joined with none other than a GRP, insert whatever word you want, athlete Sue Holderness coming to us live from Vermont, all the way up near the Canadian border. Sue, how is it going and what is the background behind you?
Well, it's good. Thanks for having me. I'm in the ski shop, or in the summer, it's just a building, but it's where our skis and there's a cafe in the winter. So I'm just sitting there enjoying the nice view outside.
Amazing. That's great. It looks like a beautiful building. Hopefully we can get there. I think last time we described this as the Shangri-La for athletic training. But yeah, we are really looking forward to learning more about your background as a rower coming out of, I think when you were there, the number one rowing program in the country, winning NCAAs left and right. And yeah, learning about kind of what's going on in the elite world and the journey you're on and where you're going, and also just what the heck is happening up in Vermont, training adjacent to Page. Um, but cool, yeah, I guess we will unhook our shades, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I'd be really interested to hear a little bit more about how you got into rowing, what sport was like earlier in your life, and then up to and including collegiate athletics for you.
Yeah. So I have two older sisters and a very competitive family. So sports and competition were always part of my childhood. Whether it's, I mean, we'd have like make your bed contest, and that's how my parents could get us to do a great job, just because we wanted to win so bad and beat each other in everything we did. And so I played a lot of different sports, mainly soccer. I loved, but my family played tennis, so I played a little bit of tennis, a little bit of volleyball, a little bit of running for a minute. And mainly I just loved to compete, and I was all right at soccer. I mean, I did it for a while, but nothing crazy. Played in high school. And my family was uber competitive. Like every Thanksgiving, the Friday after, we would have a family race, and there were always like tiers or some things, but that meant like the world. And all Thanksgiving Day was spent competing too, with different games. But yeah, so I was playing soccer in high school, and then decided that I was just gonna stop playing club soccer and just play for my high school team in the spring. So I was looking for a way to stay in shape in the fall. And a friend I knew rowed, and my high school team didn't have a rowing program, but there was one about like 50 minutes away. And it was a teeny tiny team. It's like, okay, I'll go give it a shot. And I rowed that fall. This was fall of my sophomore year of high school, and just loved it. And kind of trained through the winter, and then going into the spring, I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss soccer, but I think this is kind of my thing, and decided that I wouldn't go back to soccer and that I wanted to keep going with rowing. Um, and that, I mean, my team had around 10 girls, give or take, the whole time that I was on this team, Charlotte Youth Rowing. And so I ended up, yeah, not going back to soccer. And that spring, my team had never sent anyone to, or yeah, we never, I don't think we'd sent anyone to youth nationals. And it ended up a girl named Marla and I made it in the double. And remember going and being like, this is so awesome. And we definitely did not know how to take it super seriously yet. I remember going to the beach with my dad, like after heats, in the afternoon, even though we had a race the next day. But that summer and that spring, I feel like it just was like a direct correlation that showed me in the sport how much you put in is how much you get out. And I feel like in some other sports, there's more a little bit more, like some people just have this natural ability and some people have this, but in this sport, I felt like you could outwork other people. Just the more you'd put in, you could take huge steps, and I loved that. And so ended up kind of going all in, got recruited to Texas my junior year, committed to them, which was lucky. I committed right before COVID happened, so that was kind of nice. And then got visits in before COVID shut everything down. And then went to Texas and was totally a small fish in a big pond. I mean, my team was tiny in high school and my coaches were the best, but they were volunteer master rowers who just wanted their girls to be able to have a rowing program. So I kind of went in and was like, oh my gosh, these people are so good. Definitely had a little bit of like, what am I doing here? How do I even fit in a place like this? But kind of relied in college on the same, just like keep working, keep grinding. And I feel like that kind of carried through my whole collegiate 4 years and experience of really just trying to lean on other people and learn from other people and like push myself the hardest to push our team forward. And yeah, we had a good stretch of 4 years, and I feel like I learned a lot, got to keep growing and getting better. And I really, really enjoyed my 4 years at Texas, which is why I'm still rowing now, because yeah, I still love the sport. It taught me a lot, and so I'm excited to keep pushing it.
Okay, so I have two questions about the time at Texas because I feel like you're being a little humble on 4 good years.
Don't bury the lead too much here.
Can you talk about some of the big wins, for the program or yourself while you were there? But then the most important question is, did you ever get fitted for a cowboy hat?
Cowboy hat, no, but our team does have the tradition. The first year you make NCAAs, all the people who made it for the first time go and get fitted for cowboy boots. And then, yeah, so you get a pair
even better.
of cowboy boots. Yeah, I think so. They were awesome. They were really fun. And it was fun to have a matching pair as your teammates to like football games and other events. They were really fun boots. But yeah, so my freshman year, I remember we went to San Diego Crew Classic, and that was kind of our first race of the season. And I was stroking our 4, and that was the first time that our both 8s and the 4 had ever won. So first time for the boats winning and sweeping, and it was just awesome. And I remember being like, oh yeah, this is so fun. And then yeah, conference was, I mean, for me, conference was always, it was great. We won conference my 4 years there, but the best one I think was my senior year, because we'd been in the Big 12 my first 3 years and then switched to the SEC, and Tennessee was and is right now a powerhouse too. Like they're doing awesome. And I remember going my senior year and being like, we could not win. There is a strong chance that Tennessee beats us, and being just like, that was the first time I've really worried about conference and a lot. And I guess my junior year too, but especially my senior year. And it ended, luckily I didn't know this, but it ended up coming down to whichever first 8 won, because we'd gone back and forth on some of the other boats in the second 8 and the 4 and the second 4. And I remember we felt pretty good going into it. I was stroking our first 8. We get off the line and they just like took off. And I remember being like, I cannot even see anyone in this Tennessee boat. I have no clue what's going on. And just being like, okay, I need to be calm, race the rhythm of this boat, trust the boat. And we were down, and then just like throughout the race walked through, and our second half was just so electric, and it was so fun being like, I know I just need to set a good rhythm, go hard, and the people behind me are going to power us down. So that was definitely a favorite race to win SECs for the first time it had conference, and get to be in that boat, just kind of being down and walking through. But yeah, the definite highlight years, I mean, I think my junior year, so we won NCAAs my freshman year and my junior year. And my junior year, that had been kind of a hard year for our team in general with personal issues. We had some teammates lose family members, and there was a lot going on. And so that year was really special to me because we hadn't won the year before, and then just it had been super hard, and so the leadership that year did such an amazing job of like kind of no matter what happens, we're going to stick together, work hard, and push through it. And I think that year we worked incredibly hard in bringing everyone up as a team. And we always say like teammates, self in order of priorities, and that year just really encompassed that for me. I feel like everyone was doing whatever they could to push the team forward, and then their teammates and then themselves. And I was in the 2B that year, and so it was like an electric race. We got this 4-1. The 2B got second, and the first 8 won. But I was super proud of our second 8. It was a young boat, and we raced our hearts out. And then getting to watch the first 8 come down the course and win, and be there like standing with all your teammates is just an amazing feeling to see all of your hard work pay off, and get to celebrate with the team. So that was also awesome. And honestly, my senior year, we were a super young team too. We had 3 freshmen in our first 8. And so getting third, I was really proud of that boat. Really proud of that boat too. And then I was the only one that left that boat. So it was awesome this year to watch them step up and win and set a world record. And I felt really, proud of that momentum that's carried forward and how they executed this year.
Hang on a second. Did I
Absolutely.
hear the words world record?
Yeah, well, our first 8 set an unofficial world record at NCAA's in the final this year. Unofficial because it wasn't world rowing sanctioned, and I don't know, with the course. And they had a ripping tailwind, but they were awesome.
Okay.
They rowed super well, super
You
fast.
still got to
and
row
I
that
think,
boat. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the world record was 5:52 and they went 5:57. So or 5:47, sorry. They smashed it. They're crushing it.
Wow. Yeah. That's so impressive. I guess just a testament to the strength of the program that you came through and the athletes that have moved through it, including yourself. I mentioned before you came on air that I'm still learning more and more about the technical elements of rowing all the time. It sounds like during your time in Texas, you had exposure both to like the sweep 8s, but also the smaller 4s. So I'm curious to know what your life at GRP looks like now, and how much of this focus has changed between being able to like row both kinds of boats versus one or the other.
Yeah, it's definitely very different, and has been an adjustment. So I'm 1 year out and started kind of a little bit in a single, but predominantly rowing a pair the majority of this year. So only 2 people sweeping still, and I don't have much pair experience. So that was a big. Well, I don't have tons of pair experience, but I have done some. And so it's been a learning curve of like trying to master the small boats, and also I've just totally kind of felt this year like I did my freshman year of Texas, of once again leveling up to like a new standard. And you're racing and rowing next to the Olympians and the current national team members. You're like, what am I doing here? How do I do this? And so that's been hard, but also since I kind of had that in Texas too, I've kind of trusted that I can figure it out. It might take me longer than it takes others, but if I just keep working at it, I think I can get there. So the small boats have definitely been a challenge. And this past summer, I've hopped in the single, and now I'm working through the single and figuring that out, which I've really enjoyed. And I'd say for me, it's difficult because I really enjoy hard work for other people. I think one reason why I loved Texas so much and thrived there was that like I will push myself to the max for other people. I know if I back down or lose some technique or do something, I'm not just slowing my boat down. Like I'm slowing it down or making the boat heavier for everyone else who I'm with. And so I've been trying to figure out ways that I can keep pushing and rowing for other people or importance in that sense. Even when I'm in a single, and that may just look like, okay, I'm doing this practice side by side with Paige, for example, and it's like, well, I need to keep holding myself to a higher standard so that way it pushes her to her highest standard. So that's definitely been an adjustment, but it's also great because it's just it's so much feedback, because in a single it's just all you. So you mess this up, that's you who did that. You did this great, that's also you that did that. So it does give feedback right away, which is awesome. But yeah, we at the senior national team level, you do mainly all of your training in small boats because we raced 3 or 4 times a year and only singles or pairs across everyone. Everyone lines up and does that. And how well you do there is how you get invited to the selection camp for the big boats, for world champs and world cups. So you have to be good in the small boats to try to even make the big boats.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds a bit like cycling, where I think that a lot of the best riders are able to train and race in different disciplines, and it makes them better
Mm.
across all of them, whether that's dabbling in mountain biking, cyclocross, and then carrying that back over to the road or vice versa. Um, which I guess kind of leads me naturally to my next question about training, and especially like cross training through the winter and through the summer. I understand that the Green Racing Project, you've got a lot of different athletes and a lot of different activities available, such as running and Nordic skiing. So, um, how much of that do you dip into? And more broadly, how would you rate the importance of like just building a really big aerobic engine or anaerobic engine versus focusing in on the nuances of technique?
Mm. Well, first to kind of start with what you're touching on at the end, I think the balance between aerobic, anaerobic, and technique is pretty individualized here, which is awesome. Our coach Steve does a great job of figuring out through like VO2 testing and lactate and different stuff who is pretty aerobic and who's anaerobic and who needs more technique. And so our training plans will be specialized a little bit for that. So I love to go on long runs and long skis, and I'm very aerobic, and so I've been on the anaerobic path of lifting more and doing more sprints and power applied workouts just to try to boost that for me. And then also, since I'm pretty new to the single, focusing more on those technical rows and because I kind of have a lot of room to go with technique. So our training plans are all pretty similar with like little tweaks to maximize those things. And so in the summer, we're rowing every morning, and then in the afternoons, maybe 4 afternoons are rows, and other ones are cross trains. And for the people who need more technique, those are encouraged to go row more. And then some people, it's like, well, you just really need to get your biggest area right now is getting stronger or anaerobic base. Then they'll have longer things and may go cross train in the afternoon to keep their bodies healthy. But yeah, skiing in the winter, I never skied before. Grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think I'd gone downhill skiing once, and then obviously school in Texas, so skiing was not a thing. But it was awesome because all the skiers here in the winter taught all of us who hadn't learned how to cross country ski, and we were skate skiing. And for me, I think I was a little worried because I never really had an erg season, so to say, since we rode year round at Texas. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of erging. So super, and it was absolutely pretty fun. And then it was just really nice, I think, mentally to be able to get outside in the winter. Um, a lot of people are like, how are you living in Vermont? It's so cold and it gets dark so early and you love to be outside. But I mean, you get to go ski for hours and it's just beautiful, like a winter wonderland, and you're in zone. And we had like weekly ski races that you could join, and there were all the people who knew how to ski around here and then all of us. And I think in the beginning the good skiers around here were like, it's like dodging people and dodging kids trying to get around you guys because you go fast and then fall over. But we got better and it was really fun. So it's fun to like compete and push myself in a new way. And like same thing in the summer, instead of the Tuesday night race being skiing, there's running races that you can join. And so it's super cool to be around athletes of all different, like there's juniors, there's masters, there's just people in the community, there's the professional skiers and biathletes, there's rowers. And so there's all these people who are fit, like to compete, like to work out. And it gives you kind of opportunities to race and challenge yourself in new ways and learn from people who are doing something different than you, which I think is important to sometimes zone out of rowing, even though because we're so like focused on our community that you can learn so much from other sports and other communities too, which is really cool. And so yeah, I think cross training is really important just to challenge yourself in new ways, because for skiing, I mean, it's like there's little times where you feel like you're a kid again and have to learn something completely new and be okay with falling over a million times and getting back up and figuring it out. And So it's kind of a great skill to learn and to be okay with being an adult who's bad at something and not getting frustrated and just keep doing it. Because so often when I'm not good at something, I'm just like, well, I'm going to only do the things I'm good at. And this was a good chance to be like, okay, I'm bad at this. Let's figure it out and have fun while doing it.
Growth happens through discomfort. So
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, definitely.
I should be growing so much, so much.
Yeah.
Um, I did have a question about, I guess this is a two-parter or multi-part-ish. So from what I would understand about a program like Texas, I mean, it's a mega program, and you're totally a student athlete where they're providing a lot of things. You have mega facilities. We had another guest, Todd, who was a Division I athlete at Georgetown for lacrosse, and he shared a lot of insights into what it was like, being part of a big program. Um, and now GRP is a great place because there is a lot of structure still. Obviously, there's kind of like the give back work component.
Hmm.
And I guess the two-parter is, kind of comparing and contrasting the environments, and likely you were drawn to it because of the somewhat of a structure and maintaining that. And the second part of that is kind of around like, how important is that for an athlete in this part of their career? Because not everybody maybe has either the opportunity or the foresight to say, hey, that should be an important piece of my training getting into this elite space.
Yeah. Well, at Texas, we definitely had everything provided to us that you could need. I mean, they would give you all the opportunities, and it was just how much would each athlete maximize them. And so the great thing about that is it, like Dave would say, the only limiting factor is yourself. You have everything provided in the opportunities. It's just how much you're going to take advantage of them, honestly, and um what you'll put into rowing. And so that was awesome because they have all the academic support you could possibly need, so that way you don't have to worry about your classes when you're at practice. And then also with the food, we had a fantastic dining hall for student athletes and nutritionists to help us figure that out, and athletic trainers, if you had any weird injuries or things going on. So that was, I think, really helpful at Texas because it provided me with everything I needed to focus just on school and rowing, and took away some of those extra worries. And I mean, I was super lucky to never need to also work a job while I was doing school and rowing, which I was really lucky. And then it also helped me, I think, learn about that. So through my nutritionist, I learned about fueling right and how to maximize that. And same with my athletic trainer. He was awesome. And so he helped me with injuries, and then also taught me a lot about injury prevention and warming up and post workouts. But yeah, transitioning out, I've been super lucky to be at Green Racing Project. Obviously, we have food provided for us and housing, and we just do our work around the center to we do work around the center, but honestly, they're giving us more than I would be making, so to say, with the work we do. It's super generous. Um, and so that's why, yeah, super important. I mean, to have things like this and Spidworks that are just kind of helping out with the other expenses. I mean, there's so much that I think when I'm in college, I didn't realize how expensive the sport is, just to maximize with like supplements and getting the right food for protein intake and muscle recovery. And then even the little things like the Firefly devices that help with STEM basically and recovering your muscles. So there's just a bunch of little things I think coming out of it that I realized like are performance helpers. And when you're at this level, you want every percent, even if it's like this thing helps 0.5%. It's like I want to do that. I want to do all the little things because you're dedicating your life to it. Um, so yeah, I'm lucky to be at a place like Green Racing, but it definitely is something that I see across a lot of athletes in smaller sports of like you have to balance. Most of us have jobs too. I mean, I have a part-time job that I also work for outside of this. And so you have to balance your sport, you have to balance your job, your personal life, and figuring out the balance of all three while prioritizing what you need to do is a new territory, but it's been good so far, and I'm lucky to have Green Racing and Spidworks as support.
Yeah, I mean, I think that segues really nicely into a topic that I wanted to touch on with you, which is really, I guess we could call it the the financial grind of post-collegiate sport. I mean, for those who maybe have not followed my story, I got into cycling very, very late, and I did so when I was a graduate student. And so I think what I quickly discovered is that when you get involved in a, let's say, traditionally less funded, but still very equipment intensive sport like cycling or like rowing, there's just a lot of hidden costs that people don't think about. And yeah, I'm curious to learn a little bit more about what some of those hidden costs are for you as a rower and how you're navigating that and the roles both that GRP plays in helping bridge that gap as well as Spidworks.
Mm. Honestly, I think the biggest one is food. Since we work out so much, how much I eat, like I'm like, okay, I have to eat breakfast before I row, and then I need to make sure I'm drinking electrolytes and having carbs during my row, and then I need to eat after practice, and then it's just like you're eating all the time to stay healthy and to fuel and recover well. And that comes with like I take creatine in the morning, and then sometimes cherry juice at night, or I like to have tea at night to help wind down. And there's just so much food that we eat, and to eat really healthy and clean too can be expensive.
Yeah.
So GRP, I'm super lucky to have one really high quality food. I mean, they get a lot of their food that we eat in the dining hall from Vermont. So I'm having healthy food made for me for lunch and dinner, and then um I'm Spidworks honestly is helping with my like kind of supplemental things like outside of just my normal basing. So getting those electrolytes so that way I'm not dehydrated, and then protein bars, or I've just got these protein oats that are actually really good for post practice. So I'm getting carbs and protein then. And then same with recovery. I mean, we have rollers and you stretch and do all of that, but as I mentioned before, I just got the Fireflies, which really help with my legs just feeling fresher. Um, and so I think yeah, the food I think is the biggest one for rowers, and not having to be buying my own food all the time. I think that is what would dig a hole in my pocket. But the other main costs definitely are just training, getting to and from regattas. And rowers, we don't travel tons compared to other sports, but when you do, it's a whole ordeal. I mean, you gotta get your boats and your oars and all of your things somewhere, and oftentimes, yeah, flights are expensive, but if you can drive, we'll drive. But honestly, right now, gas is super expensive. So then you got to do your hotel, and there's entry fees. So like for a single, you may be paying $75 just to enter your boat into a race. Um, and so all those things definitely add up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can sympathize with all those hidden costs from cycling and especially with the food one. I mean, this is the crazy thing is like people maybe look at me and they think, "Oh man, you're so skinny. You must just sit around and eat salads all the time." Like, you don't understand. I mean, I'm burning thousands of calories in a typical training ride,
Yeah.
and if you want to perform, if you want to put that out, you got to also put it in. And
Hmm.
we can be, I think athletes like you or like me can be easily eating twice the number of calories that a normal untrained person would be eating, and that means we're paying twice the amount of
Yeah.
money. So
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I'm also probably eating twice the amount of calories. I just may not be quite the trained athlete. I like how Steven just casually
oh,
does not include me in this. Boy, these two highly
no.
trained athletes on this podcast just eating so much.
Peter, I'm sorry for throwing shade like that. That's completely
It's okay.
beyond the
I'll
pale.
go for some aloe vera for the burn over here. Actually, I did have a question for both of you because I think you're probably on opposite ends of the spectrum because right now, Stephen, in your massive apartment in Berlin, you probably don't have a staff cooking for you.
Amazing. Look how
um,
gorgeously furnished it is.
um, but I think, yeah, the cost I think is certainly really big, and that's one thing I think we've heard from athletes actually over the, dare I say, years of the organization existing was cost of food and then cost of what you would maybe say is like athletic fuel as opposed to just regular food. It
Hmm.
gets really really expensive and it adds up. But I wanted to ask both of you a little bit about like the time factor because um, I know for myself the time of cooking, good or preparing good stuff, even preparing your bottles for the next day can feel like, equivalent to folding laundry. Um, but the time factor and the kind of intensity factor of thinking about food, getting the right food, and then compounding that with cost, like does that play quite a bit into, I guess, on your side, Sue, to start, like the ease of training at a place like GRP, and then Stephen on your side is like, I know we've been on calls and we were watching you cook, but it's like it is time, and then maybe when you have to do meal prepping, does that become less fun? But yeah, Sue, I'll turn it over to you first.
Yeah, it definitely makes it way easier. And I've been super lucky. I mean, pretty much my whole time being really intense athlete because of all 4 years at Texas, I had a dining hall cooking for me lunch and dinner besides the weekends. And here, like the majority of the year, we have lunch and dinner cooked for us. There's a little bit of down off season in the year that we cook for ourselves, but that's kind of fun. And it makes it a lot easier because I'll eat the basics, oatmeal or bagel for breakfast and something supplementary post practice. But being able to just like finish stretching after my workout and shower and maybe do a little bit of work and then go to lunch and there's a buffet of fresh food with everything I need, vegetables, carbs, and protein, and it's delicious, makes it way easier and saves time. And I think, yes, it does take off um a bit of mental strain of like, oh, I got to go to the grocery store, oh, I got to cook this, because I think that would add up, and it kind of allows me also to do all of the other things that I need to do, like recover well, do my work hours for the center, and then do my other job. So that it allows for that to be a little more sustainable and taking off a mental strain and giving me more time, so I can have that balance
Yeah.
life.
Steven, I'm curious on your side.
I mean, maybe you saw me roll my eyes because I'm just so jealous. I mean, I'm now at a place where I'm working 8 hours a day full time. Of course, I need to also commute to get to and from there. Try to squeeze in training in there, and also cook some kind of food. And I also happen to have a kitchen that's the size of a postage stamp and no dishwasher. So I also, have to wash everything by hand as well. Um, in my case, what it's boiled down to is really just trying to simplify, simplify, simplify. I have basically three recipes that I know how to cook by heart. They're relatively easy and they're nutritious and they've got all the good plant fiber and protein that I need. And that's uh, that's really what it is. It comes down to crazy time management. But I think that this hits on something that I wanted to discuss with Sue a little bit, which is really what I would term the marginal utility of extra support for sports like this. I think when you look at the extreme case of, let's say, a pro athlete in the NFL, where they've, literally got like butlers for them and everything, practically, their entire day really figured out for them. Um, Having like another extra $100 per month doesn't make any sort of difference to them. But I think to athletes from sports like rowing or from cycling, where we don't have that level of support, it's definitely the case that even just getting a little bit of extra really has a pretty transformative impact. So I'm wondering, maybe if you have some specific examples of maybe how support from Spidworks has really had an outsized impact on your ability to train and perform.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me is there is this pressure of being in your 20s and I'm not doing the conventional path of graduating college and getting a job and having my savings and doing all of this. And while I have a part-time job that I'm saving a little bit, I'm definitely a little more stingy with what I spend my money on because of that feeling of like being behind and not following the typical path that other people are. And so having that little extra money helps me feel like, okay, I can spend this money on these supplements, on this support, on this other stuff for rowing, and I know this money is for my sport. And so then I feel good about spending money on things that I maybe feel guilty for otherwise. And I think that's what's really nice about Spidworks. It's just like it's here to help push me forward in my sport and help me reach those big goals of making the Olympics. And so I can buy like I was just buying creatine and I can buy that, or I'm going to a race this weekend. It's like, okay, you can like that will help cover gas expenses of driving up there, and I don't necessarily and I won't be working that day that I'm driving. And so um it kind of takes off the mental stress of feeling behind or feeling like I shouldn't be spending this money and I should be saving, or I'm behind from my peers, and just helps me work towards the goal and spend the money on the little things to help me gain those marginal gains that I may not do otherwise if I didn't have that support.
Support
Hey,
really
that's great to
it
hear.
really compounds, right? Beyond
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
immediate cost of the goods.
Hmm.
One thing I wanted to cover here and make sure we didn't forget was actually talking about the goal for the Olympics. So we've got LA coming up, and then what is it? Australia's after that too. So maybe talk to us a little bit about, outlook, and obviously we've got immediate goals, but you're like, a process-oriented athlete, like trusting the process and going through it. So yeah, what's kind of coming up, maybe big picture, and then maybe also for the rest of the year for you.
Yeah. So goal to make the Olympics, and for me, 2028 definitely is going to be a stretch. But in my mind, I kind of think, why not still set my sight on that and go for it? Because even if I just pour everything into trying to make 2028, even if I feel like I may be further off right now than the people who are obviously on the team going to Worlds this year, since I'm not. I don't think that means that it's not possible and I shouldn't go for it, because even if I give everything I have, I think that'll only set me up better for the next cycle. So my mind right now is just like keep trying to take these, and since I'm pretty young in the system, I'm like keep trying to figure it out, learn, take these steps forward, and who knows where I'll be next year or in 2 years. And next year is kind of a big year, the last year before the Olympics. That's a good time, or I guess like not this coming up year, but the one after. That's a good. You gotta break in then, and so it. Um, for me, I'm really diving all in and still going for that 2028. Even though some people may be like, you're not there yet. That's a ambitious goal, and I'm like, you got to go big. There's always a chance that you make it, and I think some people would look at definitely had told me that in Texas. They're like, no, I don't know if you can. I don't know if that's where you should be aiming for. That's what you should be doing right now. But it's like, just go for it. You're always gonna learn. You're always gonna learn so much from trying something. And I think going for a bigger goal that is realistic, and as long as you have like smaller goals along the way to help, so it doesn't just seem like super far off and crazy, you're gonna get further than like selling yourself short or going for something that's more comfortable. So right now that's the goal, but I mean as long as I still love rowing in my day to day, which I definitely do right now, I'm definitely gonna go for 2032 also.
I feel inspired right now, Stephen. Like I want to go
What is
rowing.
that old
Yeah.
cliche, Peter? Shoot for the moon, and even if you fail, you land amongst the stars. So
There you have it.
you get me fired up
Yeah.
to
Unbelievable.
train too. I love it.
Well, I want to maybe hit with a couple of final hard-hitting, hard-boiled questions here. What would you say lately that you've been doing that would be categorized as super spid?
Oh, well, this has been something fun in my summer training. So the ski coach, she's Bulgarian, but just retired as our head ski coach. So she's now working with the rowers more too. And to try to improve my aerobic, we've been doing running with poles and hill jumps. And the running with poles was one of the most brutal things we ever did. I felt so uncoordinated trying to figure out how to like max out, but we ran up this hill. It took about a minute and it was just this huge hill. And it was like the goal was to just get my lactate as high as possible. So honestly, it was like how much pain can you endure and how much can you push your body?
Evil.
But it's so fun to do it in a new way. And then twice a week before weights, jumping up a ski hill. We have this like really steep hill that people love to ski down, and we just jump up on both legs and then sometimes on one leg and then do the other leg. And I would say that is not my strong suit. She keeps telling me I'm very robotic, and she's like, loose, springy, loose, springy. You need to be loose and springy. And I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently, I'm really robotic. I feel like I'm trying to get myself up that
Could
hill,
be a
but it just doesn't always
compliment,
work.
Like robots are just they're locked in.
Yeah.
They never tire.
Yeah.
incredibly good
Yeah,
at
yeah,
doing
that's
one
true.
task. Yes.
That's I don't think she means it in that way, but that's a nice way to think about it. But that's been something new in my training this year or this summer honestly that I'm really enjoying and has been kind of different but fun.
And anything that you'd somehow categorize as not spid lately.
Mm. I mean mainly I think kind of on the opposite of that I really like to be go 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 and doing something all the time. And so right now I'm reading Lonesome Dove, which if anyone has not read, really recommend. But just kind of have gotten in a routine this summer of after dinner sitting outside when it's nice and there's been good sunset and like drinking tea and reading my book. And that has been honestly a game changer for me to like turn off my go 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 in that system and
Hmm.
feel tired and then be able to just like go to bed and reset at the end of the day. Um, so I'm yeah enjoying the calm at the end of the day because I think I feel that pressure to always be doing something.
Well,
Which could still be categorized as spid,
I
but
was
I
to say, I think
understand it
maybe
is
we
not
have to we have
necessarily.
to maybe still have to file this under SPID, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely good to tone the energy down from time
Yeah,
to time. We
trying
all
to have
need
a
to.
calm.
And I guess the opposite of toning the energy down, Stephen, you know what time it is at this point.
Turn it up.
It is time for
What?
what in tarnation?
What? Entire nation?
Howdy, folks. Welcome to What in Tarnation.
Yeah. Okay, since we got like a Vermont doubleheader here with Sue and Paige before her, I'll throw it back to one more What in Tarnation tale from my visit to Vermont for a Green Mountain Stage Race, I think in 2023. I was traveling with two of my teammates, one of whom was coming from his college in Kentucky, I think. So he drove north from Kentucky to Vermont and along the way picked up another teammate. At an airport, I think in Ohio or something. I can't remember. So he drove his Ford Focus ST all the way up to the airport in Burlington to pick me up. Now, cycling and rowing, both extremely gear intensive sports, especially when you're trying to take bikes. And so we were three humans, three bikes, a lot of suitcases. He had a bike rack on the back, but it could only take two. And I show up with my absolutely colossal bike box and wheel bag and suit, my backpack. They've already got the entire back seat practically completely full of all their stuff, but somehow we're able to like get my bike box in the back of this Ford Focus ST, um, and like construct this absolute masterpiece of Tetris with the suitcases and the bags and the wheel bag and everything. You can't see out the rearview mirror. And there's like on the side, the passenger side, back seat, there's an alcove that's maybe like, it's a perfectly Steven shaped alcove that's like maybe 2.5 feet high or something. I got about like 2 feet off of the seat and I had to just completely hunch over like that for over an hour while we drove to the backwoods of Vermont to get to our host house, and it was so it was so incredibly hilarious. It was all we could do to not just laugh the entire time. Like
Well, you couldn't laugh because there wasn't enough room for that.
I
So,
was like cramping. Guys,
oh
I'm not
my
getting enough
God.
AC back here.
Well, I think the biggest question is getting to the race. Maybe you're limber and you're excited, but like post race, sitting like that, because I assume you had to drive back to the airport in the
The
same manner.
situation was better on the way back because actually I can't remember how it exactly worked out, but teammates departed at different times, so it wasn't such a big deal getting back to the airport, thankfully. But yeah, core memory right there.
We may have to face a similar challenge one day in Germany when I come with my bike, and I will have to meet you at a train station with your bike, and we will see what Tetris we can do.
Well, yeah, we'll see if the train even leaves the station.
Hey, ich
Deu
verstehe nur Bahnhof.
just Deutsche Bahn things.
We're just here for the Deutsche Bahn, or not. If it may not be there for us. Um, Sue, as people want to continue to follow you, through our massive zillion person following on social media, where can they find you, and maybe what's coming up for the rest of the training season here for you?
Yeah, on Instagram, pretty sure I'm just Sue_Holderness. Also, like Strava,
Classic.
only really post my runs, but sometimes in my skis, but Sue Holderness, and I'll put pictures and captions on Strava, so that's kind of fun. And yeah, this weekend I'm heading up to Montreal to go race the ERA regatta, so I'm looking forward to that. And then after that, a week of racing at Canadian Henley, which will be in the single, double, and quad. So racing there.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Luck.
Awesome.
thanks.
Very much good luck. Thank you for joining us. We will probably have you back. Maybe we can get you and Paige for a double GRP action
Yeah, that'd be fun.
podcast
Maybe a
and
Henley
talk about
recap or
some.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks very much. Enjoy Vermont, and we will catch you soon on the Spidcast. Stephen, any parting words from across the Atlantic here?
May the Spid be with you.
May the Spid be with you. All right, Sue. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.